It's a great day today on the Chundria show, and I'm excited about my two guests, Leilani Chavez and Branchman. Thank you for being here today.
Everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Ladies are dynamic. I've been following you on social media for a while now, and I love what you're doing. I love the topics that you guys are choosing to speak out on and everything. So I thought it'd be great to have you come in the studio today and talk about relationships.
Yes.
Which I feel like we all know too well, and sometimes I know enough of.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we start, introduce yourselves and tell me what you do here in LA.
Okay, so I'm Leilani Chavez. I am a relationship coach, and so I'm working on a couple of different projects, but for the most part, I spend time helping couples communicate. I also work with parents and teens to help them communicate because, you know, teens can be a challenging group. And so I have over 10 years of experience with working with youth. And so I'm very much a youth advocate. And so I always come from that vantage point. While I do help the parents see the youth side, I also want the youth to hear from their parents and understand the heart behind the instruction that usually causes the conflict. So relationships such as marriages, engagements, you know, and just romantic partners as well as parents and teens.
Oh, so you cover all dynamics.
Yes.
Wow, woman, huh?
Trying to get some time for myself, right?
I am a transformational mindset coach. I have been life coaching. It feels like all my life. When you do what you are made to do, you kind of find a pattern no matter what job you're at. Went to school, undergrad, master's degree, and therapy traditionally just wasn't for me. Had the amazing opportunity to lose over 100 pounds, which kind of launched my YouTube channel. And from there, I noticed that life coaching free wasn't probably the best way to get a business. So inevitably, I decided, okay, let me make this a lifestyle and quit my job. And so I work with individuals. Normally, even if it's a couple, I like to start with the person first and work on their mindset, the ideologies, the narratives they tell themselves, as well as a little humor. It's crazy. I do a lot of stuff. So I do comedy on the side. So a lot of times our sessions are very colorful, little tears, a little crying, inevitably really passionate about changing the lives of people. And our business together works amazing because she sees things that I don't see, and then I see things she doesn't see, and we're like hitting everybody in the room. So we've been able to build individual businesses as well as a collective one. That's been pretty successful.
You guys are amazing. So how did you two meet and decide that you
Wow.
we had that much time?
No, seriously, right?
We met, the story we like to tell, the pretty story is we met at church. A lot of people thought my daughter was her daughter. So we were asking, like, where's your daughter?
Absolutely.
And I'm like, who's this lady? Y'all, this is my child.
Yes.
You know? Friendship grew, and it really was like a sisterhood.
Yeah.
The dirty version is I wanted to be her friend, and she was running. And
Listen, we don't got that kind of time, but the reason why is because I knew she was gonna go and take off, and I was like, you're gonna make me love you and your family, and then you're gonna be busy. And I can't have exactly. And she moved.
And it really happened. I moved to a whole other state. It was crazy. We were,
Get
we
us
were on the
started.
phone as grown women for like hours. And it was like, I think I really like this.
Yeah.
So moved back.
Right.
And so the business came because we were doing stuff together, and people were like, you guys are really talented.
Yeah.
And so living in LA, you see a lot of people living their dream out. And so you actually said, well, why not us? And so nowadays, between YouTube, the internet, you can kind of figure out a way to put it together. And so the business has really blossomed because it's a real friendship.
Yeah.
It's a good foundation.
So ideally, what services are you offering your clients?
So for me, life coaching as well as health and fitness. My husband's actually a personal trainer. So we're in the midst of wanting
Putting everybody to work.
Come on,
Whole family.
The
Whole
kids
family.
too.
Yes.
I actually just got a modeling contract.
Yes.
I signed up with an agency, and then they saw something with my kids, and so they're like, well, bring them down. Let's talk to them. So we got everybody working.
Yes.
But so life coaching as well as that hosting. I host events. I do speaking engagements, and also I do strategy consult work. So it's maybe how to team build, how to help problem solve within a business or a certain department. We do it all.
Yeah.
We do it all.
Everything. One stop shop.
Absolutely,
I love it.
absolutely.
I love it. Well, keep up the amazing work. My goodness. All right. Well, you guys got some time for some relationship questions.
Absolutely.
I know you're in the business of helping people.
Yes.
Everybody needs help. So I have two Ask Chundria questions. The first one I'll read.
Okay.
Dear Chundria, I am engaged to the woman of my dreams. She is funny, smart, ambitious, and an entrepreneur, and has had my back through some really tough times. My family and friends just adore her too, but recently she dropped the bomb on me saying she didn't want to have children because she doesn't want her business to suffer. When I suggested that we wait some years, she confirmed that she will not change her mind. I'm mad and hurt that she doesn't want to start our family. Am I wrong to call off the engagement?
That's a heavy one. That's loaded because you're talking about building a connection with someone and finding someone that you actually care enough about, that you do want to build a legacy with, you know, getting engaged and getting married. And so, you know, oftentimes people are like, what? They don't want to do that. You got to break up, you know. And for me, the type of relationship coach that I am, I really want to deal with what people are actually telling themselves, kind of a little bit like what you said, but really I would want to talk to his fiance and ask what's really behind that, because just a personal story, I grew up saying I didn't want kids.
Wow.
But really what was behind that was the fear that I might not be able to have kids. And so if that is underneath there, we need to deal with that. And it may not be that, you know, hey, I don't want it because, you know, I don't want to ruin my business, but that is what I feel safe saying. So I would want to have a session with this couple to kind of talk with them and hear what she is dealing with and what she's going through and what's really underneath that. But if that is where she stands, I just never like kids, I never want kids, that is her.
I never liked them.
Right, no, it's
put your baby away.
Exactly. I know, don't bring them in here, you know. If that is where she is, that is her right. And so I would want to talk to the gentleman and actually get him to understand that for her, having a kid would be the same as him giving up having a kid. It's the same type of sacrifice. And if he can't visualize himself going through life without having kids, he needs to understand that that's how she's visualizing having kids. Mm-hmm. And one thing I know, like I said earlier,
it sounds like somebody's going to be resentful, right?
And the breakup, if they don't come to a conclusion, they might need to break up, because otherwise, yes, they're living with this resentment. And I was just going to say that, like, as a person who loves children and I'm a youth advocate, I would never tell someone who doesn't want to have kids to have kids. Right. It's too involved. You have to give of yourself. You have to sacrifice constantly. I have a 1-year-old at home.
Not ready.
So yes, exactly. You're doing it with resentment.
A 1-year-old at home?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, honey. So I'm tired.
Okay. In 2 years.
Yes, I tell you. So yes, okay. So I'm saying you have to do that from a place of love and not from obligation and resentment. And so if she's coming in feeling like she has to do this for someone else, it's not going to be good for the children you bear. So I would want to have that conversation with the couple.
Just the sweet and sour aspect.
Yes, it is.
Let's just hypothetically say that, like she said, she went in, did the work, and the lady's like, no, and I'm able, I'm fertile. I say no. Run, sir. Run as fast as you can.
You say run?
I say run. Leave her alone. She told you who her child was. Her entrepreneurship, her business. I think that we spend a lot of time trying to love people into something we want them to be, and that's not even real love. That's not, as a parent who has children, I would hope that they grow up and become something successful, but all I can do is love you into what is already there. The other thing is, I'm a product of a situation where my mom and father were not in the best situation, and I'm here. So there's a whole bunch of work I had to do with my therapist and my best friend and my husband, because there's a narrative in my mind about I wasn't wanted, and you know, my mama really didn't want me, but my daddy did, and I'm the reason they're not together. Like, so let's just go ahead and say thank you for the experience, thank you for being upfront. I think that's amazing that she was able to stand boldly and say, I'm willing to let you go because I'm revealing my truth. Respect
prior to the
wedding. Yeah. And my husband trying to get a third one. So when a man wants something, I have two. I have a 2-year-old and a 7. They want it, and you just gotta respect people. So, brother, run. Tell her thank you. And life is long. Yeah, for your honesty, the experience, and go find you somebody that'll have your baby.
Well, I commend you, especially because if you say you grew up without upbringing, and then now you have this amazing family, your husband, your kids.
I hear people say, well, I didn't have a good mother or a good father growing up, so my fear is I can't do it.
Right.
And I think that's a total lie. That's a total lie. I think sometimes that's the best motivator to act right. That's the best motivator in a marriage to say, well, we saw our parents crazy. Let's learn how to do it different than what they did.
Absolutely.
And so, especially our age group, you know, we're considered millennials. So, you know, we're getting married, we're doing stuff that they're saying we can't do because we're too messed up. So, I mean, you got 3 married women sitting here.
Absolutely.
So, what kind of you don't listen to? So,
right.
Awesome. Okay. Number 2. Dear Chundria, my boyfriend's ex-wife recently lost her mother, so he and their children have been spending a lot of time together during and following the funeral. I've been patient and understanding because losing a parent is hard. I wasn't snooping, but I did find a thank you card in his apartment that she gave him with a message inside that read, I'm so glad he's been there for me and the kids. Times like these makes me wish we were a true family again. I still love you and want to try again. After a year of dating, I don't even know where to begin with this conversation or my feelings. Please help.
Yes.
All right, so listen.
Look.
If she was sitting here, I wouldn't even. Let's address the fact that you felt the need psychologically to put in this question that you weren't snooping. That lets me know. Come on.
Thank you.
That lets me
Thank
know
you.
that somewhere along the line you had warning signs going off
Yes.
anyway. Because
Yes.
you was
You were
snooping,
already
baby.
snooping.
You was snooping.
That's
You was
all right.
snooping. You was snooping. That's okay.
Yes.
This is your intuition. I think people don't
Right.
get enough.
No.
You were something was not right. Something was not settled in your spirit. Okay, so having a conversation was necessary before you found that thank you card.
Yeah.
I think that has to be addressed to people because it needs to be reinforced. That listen to yourself.
Yes.
Listen to the signs.
Absolutely.
Now, once we got past her being nosy in the man, I would just tell her, you ask them.
Yeah.
Ask them. You know, from my experience, a lot of married women express a time in the relationship where they had to step away from the partner, where they were dating, fiance, where it's like, I needed time to get some stuff together, and he needed time to get some stuff together. My experience was the Lord told me to, and I didn't. I'm still chasing after my husband. You know, like, let's just date, let's just talk. He's like, let me help my mom and do some things and get some stuff in order. This does not mean, it's not indicative of them not being together.
It's not right now.
But just not right now. Maybe he needs to step away to see, like, maybe I still have love for her. The worst thing you could do is choose to have somebody stay next to you with that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Every dinner, every
Yeah.
conversation, every Uber ride in your mind, you're like, look at her, he's probably texting her right now. Like,
Right,
who wants to live
right,
like that?
absolutely.
So, my opinion, I would definitely tell her, have the conversation and get yourself prepared to hear him say, I think I want to take a break and be okay with it.
Figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I have enjoyed spending the time with the family.
Right.
Yeah, you
Right.
know. I mean, he had kids with this woman.
Come on,
Yes,
baby. The
married.
best beach couple in the
Come
world.
on, I'm just saying. You don't know the history, and
Right.
if they were together, let's say 5 years, it's gonna take 5 to really get that person out your system.
Right.
You don't get to take 5 weeks and be over somebody, and you got kids with them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So.
Girl, you got one.
Right, no, I see, I'm like, bring it down. No, I would jump on that and say, even if you do have the conversation and he says, nah, it's nothing, trust the intuition.
There you go.
I think what we women have is a gift, that women's intuition. We know in our gut that something's up. You know, even just, I agree with you. When I heard that, I was like, baby girl,
Listen.
I wasn't snooping or nothing. Like, yes, you
I just
were.
found
No,
it.
you were.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. And why do you feel reluctant to bring it up if it was just sitting on the dresser,
Yeah.
right? So you knew you had to go through the shoebox under the bed, and so
Right.
you're like, how can I
Open
explain?
up the hidden
Exactly, like
all behind the bookshelf and found the letter.
yes, right. So now you got to explain how you know this. So that
why
makes
you can't
sense.
tell them that.
Yes, exactly. That's why you're a little
I
reluctant.
don't even know where to begin.
Right, exactly. But I think that, you know, having the conversation, I think being willing to let go, absolutely. Sometimes you have to let go of good to make room for God and what He's doing in your life. That's my personal testimony. I was in a relationship for 8 years. And God was like, that's not it. And I was like, okay, God.
Right.
Yeah. Come on, somebody. So I was like, bring me the good one, and then I'll let this one go. And God's like, I don't work like that. You know, any righteous man is not going to be your part-time lover. So if you want a righteous man, you want a husband, you can't have this other guy on the side. And so being willing to let things go, to say, I trust God that He's going to bring what is for me, you know? And it may be that person, like she said, just need some time, you know? Also just checking where the alliance is, because if he has priority to this woman saying, this is my family and I always have to be there, are you okay playing second to an ex-wife, to his baby mama, you know, like to other people, right? You gotta talk about that. But people get into relationships and they're like, oh, okay, they play it while they're dating, but then you're creating a pattern.
That's right.
And so when you get into this newfound role that like, oh, I'm now his wife, why am I still playing second to baby mama? It's because you
always were.
established the pattern.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to break the pattern. So yeah, girl, we can talk all
no,
day
no,
about
we
that.
And that's the situation where it's like you open up something in the refrigerator and smell it, and it's like, I don't think this bad.
But
You
I'm
wouldn't
away.
eat that. You know, you would throw it away, you wouldn't take the risk. But look at the risk we take with our lives. Like we're just so
with our
careless.
hearts.
Yeah, with our hearts.
Yeah.
Like to say, well, what do you think? No, girl, what you think?
Yeah.
Like, well, what do you think you should do? So
Yeah.
Just to
okay,
be
girl.
so patient and understanding when you know
Yeah.
you know it doesn't resonate well with you.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
and you're not-
okay, you going back over there? Okay.
Right, exactly.
You losing
Okay, y'all doing a
peace.
movie night?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
It is.
so-
It's a lot.
Well, I want to thank you ladies for your time
Thank
today.
you.
Being